I cannot express to you guys, I did not realize how many foundations I had until I sat down to do this declutter. Genuinely, I'm going to count them. It's pretty high. And you know, if you recall a few years ago, I decluttered a lot of my, I'm always in the process of decluttering my collection just because of what I do. I can't possibly keep everything that I try. That would be insane. So, you know, I do the obvious where I would get rid of things I'm not enjoying, but I also get rid of products that I'm not reaching for a lot that are just kind of like meh. But I literally like filled this book bag full, oh my gosh, of foundations, and it is just overflowing. So we are gonna sit on the floor together, and I hope you've got coffee or tea or whatever, and we're just gonna talk about foundations. This may be a long one, like I said, just based on how many I have to talk about. Like I said, I do these videos a lot. I have an entire playlist of years worth of declutters. If you're into them, I'll link it below. But this newest series here in 2022, I have done one other video that I started with, which was concealer. And I had a lot of those and I got rid of a lot. So if you want to check that one out after this video, I'll link that up in the eye there, but also down below. And of course, it's on that decluttering playlist too. So I'm trying to make sure I got everything. I hope you've got your drink. Cheers. Let's do this. All right, so we've got it all here. This is a lot, you guys. I'm excited though. There are a couple things that I have like multiple shades of that we can probably get rid of, but this needs to happen because I've gotten to the point where I feel like if someone were to ask me on the spot, like what's my favorite foundation? Well, actually I would probably have an answer for that, but I would struggle with a lot of these because I'm like, I don't know, like there's just too much to think through, you know what I mean? So let me straighten this up. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is insane. This may be the most I've ever owned at one point. I wish I like had a record. I mean, I could go back years back when I had a really, really large collection. I say that, but really, I mean, I have a large collection again. So this is gonna be really good, really healthy for me. Let's dive in. Also, I just got my nails done today and it makes me think of like the color of Cinderella's dress in the newest Cinderella, not Camila Cabello, the one before that. They've done so many Cinderellas lately. Anyway, I feel like this is like the exact like darker periwinkle of that dress. Okay, anyway, I'm obsessed with that color. Also, you can see the bottom part of my baby bump. All right, I got you a little closer. Hopefully this is even better. So I guess I could start by picking out like, what are my favorites of these, right? Like the things that there is no way in heck I'd be getting rid of right now. I love the Shiseido Radiant Synchro Skin like lifting foundation. This is one of the prettiest foundations, if not the best foundation I've ever used. And it is one of the few that is super expensive, but I would say is actually worth the price tag. So we're gonna start there really strong and say I'm definitely keeping that one. Another favorite of mine I would never get rid of is the Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation. This is one that I have loved for quite a while now. I use and reach for all of the time. I think I was literally wearing it yesterday. Like, it is just one of my favorites. People complain about the applicator. I actually really like that. I just paint it right on my face. So I love it. I wear the shade Shell Ivory. And again, this is the dewy one specifically. Another favorite is this one from L'Oreal. It's the Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation. Absolutely stunning. Might be my favorite drugstore foundation. And really just like top 3 favorite foundations ever. It just looks so pretty on the skin. It's medium coverage. It's got a little bit of glow, but not too much. I don't know, man. There's something magical about it. But the problem is the shade I usually use, this one's almost gone, and it's 15 Rose Ivory. And I struggle to find this shade anywhere. I don't know if it's like a discontinued shade or what. I did buy 30 Beige Rose. I don't know. I'm struggling to speak this morning. Also, it's not morning. It's like 2 p.m. I'm losing it, you guys. Anyway, what's weird is this is 15 and it looks deeper than 30, doesn't it? So I haven't really tried this a ton, the shade 30. So I'm gonna keep both. The 15's almost gone and then I'll use the 30 next. Also, I think the packaging of that is really pretty. One that I think has just gone bad is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh. I actually kind of liked, but the color has totally changed. I've had it maybe a little over 2 years. So in fairness, it is getting a little old, but I mean, that used to be much lighter. So I'm gonna say say it's just time to toss because it just separated weird even when I shake it. Another complaint a lot of people had about this, by the way, is first of all, it smells like bread. I don't know how else to explain that. It literally smells like bread, but it would sometimes have these little white dots that would get on your face. It was kind of bizarre, and it had like light to medium coverage. So I actually kind of liked it, but like I said, it's just kind of old. And now I've tried more from the drugstore that have similar claims that I like better. So I think maybe that's it. I liked it when I originally tried it, but there's just better out there now. Ooh, another one I really do not like is the Revlon Color State Light Cover. If you saw my worst of the year video, like worst makeup of the year, I just put it up a week or two ago. I will link it, but this was in there. It just doesn't look good on the skin. Like every time I'd put it on, my skin looked worse than it would without. Like I'd just rather not wear makeup. It's just one that I'm gonna pass on. Maybe a sister of mine will like it. I'm not totally sure, but I am certainly not gonna be reaching for this anymore. There's a part of me though, now that I was just thinking about it, I'm getting rid of this. It might be fun to do a video where I put on all of like the drugstore brands' like tinted hydrator type products and compare them. So you can literally see what they look like compared to each other. And since I already own all of these, and I might even include like the Milani skin tint, I feel like that could be a valuable video, even if it's more like, here's what they look like, you tell me, you know, which one looks the best, but also just sharing my experiences with them. Because I think some people will like one versus the other. So I might keep all of these just to be able to do that video and show you guys what they all look like. And also, I would be kind of curious to see all of these in comparison with each other and like, you know what I mean? How do they perform versus one another? So that may be in the future. And so in that case, I would have to keep these, but I might keep them like in a separate container together. So I remember A, to keep trying them versus each other, but B, to start filming about them because that would take a while. Although now I'm like, well, is this CoverGirl one too old to use for that? I don't know. I'll kind of mess with it and see what I think. Oh, so these Wet n Wild tinted hydrators, by the way, I really do like. Pretty sure I wear the shade Fair. Trying to see which one looks more used. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I use the shade Fair more than anything. But sometimes I'll use like self tanner in the summer, and this would be a good one. And this is one of my favorite drugstore products. Like hands down, it is one of my favorite face products. So I'm gonna keep both. Okay, I promise we're gonna be getting rid of a lot of stuff. All right, here's one. The Ulta Effortless Effect Foundation. Oof, no, absolutely one of the worst foundations I've ever tried. Looks horrible on the skin, like highlights any dry patch I've ever had in my life. Like it pulls them from the dead and like brings them to the surface. It is just not a pretty foundation, so that one can go. I also was not a fan of the Essence Pretty Natural Foundation. Really, for me, I thought it would look more natural on the skin than it does. I think that's it. It just has a little more coverage than you might expect, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on what you're looking for. But it was also a little bit more mattifying than I would have guessed with the name hydrating. So I think I might get rid of it because I don't know that this would make sense in this like tint type video because it really is not a tint. It really is a foundation. This is one we can get rid of, the Bare Minerals Original Foundation. Shade was awful, but I just didn't like the formula. And when I did mention this recently in a video, a lot of you guys didn't like it either, so I'm gonna get rid of that. So I have two of these Nars Soft Matte foundations. Vienna is way too dark for me, so no matter what, I can get rid of that one. This one is Santa Fe in medium 2. This stuff is really good. It's just very mattifying, and that's not something I reach for a lot. So this one I think I might get rid of. There are other foundations I love so much more. And while this is something I think is great for if you need it to last a long time, it's a little finicky to apply, and I don't use it enough to like get the hang of it. So I think I might pass that on while it's still good so someone else can actually use it, you know? But Nars foundations, I really, really love. This Nars Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation is one of my absolute favorites. So that is one like I go for when we're going on a date or doing something special, or I just want my skin to look really, really flawless. This is my favorite. So definitely keeping that. And the Nars Sheer Glow is another favorite. And you can purchase the little pumps separately. Medium coverage makes my skin look so nice. Like this is a favorite everyday foundation for me. It's just really nice. So definitely keeping. I wear the shade Yukon. Pretty much across the board, Yukon works for me. Mont Blanc also works. So though I'm kind of between those two. And actually, this is a new Nars one. their light reflecting foundation, and I have it in Mont Blanc, and it works really well too. So somewhere within those two shades, they work really well, and I'm liking all of these, so definitely keeping all. Big fan of Nars foundations, and while I do think this is good, it's just not my taste, you know? This one so, like, surprised me. It was a rediscovery, and this is, I mean, nothing new. You've all heard of the Maybelline Fit Me foundation, and it's been out for a while. This is the Matte and Poreless, and I tried it like a year ago again, and I love it. I love the way it looks on my skin. I don't know, it's one of those I feel like I started to sleep on for a while because it had been out for a while, like everyone had heard of it, and I was just interested in trying other new flashy things, you know? This is some good foundation, seriously. I love it with the sponge. I can link my favorite foundation sponge below. It's $1.50 from the Shop Miss A site. You can usually get it like in a 6-pack for like, you know, $8. They're my favorite, and that's how I apply pretty much every foundation every day, including BB creams, tinted moisturizers. And I think it's better than the Beauty Blender, genuinely. So, long story short, I love this, gonna keep. So this is what I'm wearing today, and I genuinely put it on. It's the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. I put this on because I can never remember how I feel about it. This sucker is expensive. It was like 40 something, and I know a lot of these are in that price range, but I really wanted to know how I felt about it to decide if I want to get rid of it, and I actually really, it looks nice on the skin. I think I could go a shade darker, and that might be why I continually, like every time I try it, I'm like, I like it, but I think that's what it is, that I need one shade darker. I have ST3 Balos, and I think I need whatever the next step up is, because I feel like with something like this that's more like lightweight, it still has some coverage. Like I said, at the beginning and end of the video, you'll see my skin with this on it. It has some decent coverage. It applies well with the sponge, which is my preferred method, but I just think I need one shade deeper. So that might be something. I think I'm gonna keep it because I don't wanna forget that I genuinely do like it, and I think I would use it even more if I get that next shade. So keep, but more as a reminder to buy the next shade. Because once I get that, and if it works, I'll get rid of the one I have now. This sucker, okay, two that are almost empty, almost completely empty. This one is the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Foundation. This is so pretty, and to be honest with you, I have the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I'm not a huge fan. Like this one, I'm planning a best and worst of Charlotte Tilbury video. This is not a favorite, so this will be decluttered, but I'm gonna save it in a separate Charlotte Tilbury basket right now so that I can show it in the video. But I don't know. She launched that new foundation that just came out, and I'm dying to get my hands on it. That sounds right up my alley because it sounds like more of a glowy foundation. This one, again, I think people do like because it's super mattifying and super high coverage. Again, it's not my cup of tea. So I'm gonna get rid of it, but it'll go in my, you know, to film about pile. But the Light Wonder, this one's almost gone. It is a super light to medium coverage. I mean, that's clearly what my taste is, but it just looks so pretty on the skin. It looks so skin-like, and it's one that, I mean, there's a reason I've almost used it up. I have grown to love this so, so much. When I run out of this, I will buy it again. I have the shade number 3 Fair, by the way. So far we're getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9-ish if I include some of the tints, and I'm keeping about like 11-ish. So we're almost 50-50, so that's a good feeling. Here, I'm gonna kind of rearrange here so I can scoot closer to you. You can smell my coffee breath. Anyone else have like teachers that you could always smell their coffee breath? This one I think I'm gonna get rid of. I've used it a couple times recently. It's the Rare Beauty foundation, and it's just not as good as other ones I have. Like I don't think it's a terrible foundation, but it's just not astounding. And so I'd rather pass it on again while it's still good so someone can still use it. So I'm gonna get rid of it. I liked the applicator. I know some people don't like this, but I totally love applicators like this. It just looked very meh, very underwhelming. I didn't think it helped my skin much. And so for that reason, I think I'm just gonna get rid of it. So I don't need both of these. I think the shade I'm in here is Fair 120N. So this one in 150C can go. This is the e.l.f. CC cream. This looks amazing on the skin. I love the way this looks, but it wears off. I learned after like a month or two of using this, I'd been raving about it, but I learned kind of a month or two after that it really wears off weird. I just have a love-hate relationship with this. I guess that's the point. So I want to keep it because I really do think it's pretty, but you just have to be aware that I do feel like 6 hours into the day, you may need to touch up like your nose more so than you would with other stuff. And I don't expect any foundation, especially the kind that I like that's more glowy and like medium coverage. A lot of them wear off and it doesn't bother me, but this one just wears off a little bit oddly. Like it just breaks apart weirdly. So anyway, I'm gonna keep it, but just knowing that, you know, it's just a very wishy-washy product. This is one I'm gonna get rid of. It's absolutely the wrong shade, so I can barely tell how I feel about it because the shade is so wrong. I have it in the shade Cream. This is the First Aid Beauty Tinted Moisturizer. I feel like this is on a lot of like magazine, like must-have lists, you know, and First Aid Beauty typically has some good ingredients in them too, good skincare, but I genuinely don't know how I feel about it because the shade is so wrong, and from what I have tried of it, I don't love it so much that I feel like I need to buy the right shade, so this one is gonna go. But a tinted moisturizer I do love is from Tarte. This is the Maracuja Tinted Hydrator. This one is also almost gone. You can usually get this on sale, like an Ulta 21 Days of Beauty type thing. Feel like it'll be 50% off often. So I would say wait to get this on sale for sure. It's just a very low-key tinted moisturizer. It still does provide coverage, and it makes your skin look better than it did before. Like, it makes it look a little glowier, a little more hydrated. I'm just a big fan, so gonna keep that. Definitely keeping the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup. This is a favorite of mine. I've talked about it a lot recently, so I won't talk about it too much. 1 and 2 Accrue is like a perfect shade match for me. It looks so pretty, and I was remarking that I feel like it's not as mattifying and high coverage as it used to be, but I kind of like it. So I don't know if they actually have reformulated it since I tried it like 8 years ago or whatever, but I really have grown to love this. So definitely keeping this. This is a top favorite. I'm gonna get rid of these Flower Beauty Get Real serum foundations. They're kind of gross and separated. They're not as good as other serum foundations I've tried, and I'm honestly not the biggest serum foundation fan as it is. So these are ones I never ever end up reaching for, so they're just gonna go. And honestly, they're getting a little bit old. Same goes for the Physicians Formula. I think this is actually pretty, but it's getting a little old, and I just don't reach for serum foundations enough to keep a lot of them. I only wanna have a few, and this is not my like top favorite. But I do think this is definitely better than the Flower Beauty. I do think this is a pretty foundation. A serum foundation I think is really pretty is this Perricone MD. Kind of reminds me of the Ilia one. I think I like the Perricone MD one a little bit better. However, I'm not even sure if you can get that, like this might be discontinued. So I'm gonna keep using it for a little bit longer. No, I'm not. This expired in September of 2021. I think it's time. So then never mind, this one is gonna go. Maybe that'll push me to use the Ilia one more anyway, honestly. This is another favorite from Guerlain. It's one of my splurgier foundations. It's their L'Essentiel foundation. It's just glowy and pretty. I feel very luxe when I use it. It's like a heavy glass bottle, kind of unique and like off kilter, you know? I really like the way it makes my skin look. I feel like I'm always having a good skin day when I use this. I could probably stand to go down a shade. I have 02C. I've been using this though and it works, but like if I were to ever repurchase this, which maybe, I would probably get the shade down. So I have 2 of these Smashbox Halo ones and they're both in Fairlight. How the heck did I do that? I get some Smashbox in PR, so I mean, I'm sure that's how it happened, but I don't know that I realized that I had the same shade. I thought I had 2 different shades. I wish I knew which one was older because then I'll know, you know, eventually it'll expire because it does have SPF in it. I mean, in theory, they all expire regardless, but I'm just gonna keep one of them and get rid of the other. But I like this. This I did dupe in my newest dupes video. If you wanna see what the dupe was, definitely go check that out, shameless plug, because there were some really, really good dupes in that video. So definitely keeping this though, because I do still really like it. These Hailey's products, I just didn't love this one. It's their Reform Liquid Luxe Luminous Finish. Again, I don't think the shade was just right, and I just don't reach for it, so I'm gonna pass that on. I really like the Hailey's BB Drops though. Again, these remind me of the Ilia, where it's more of a serum-y foundation, but it has more coverage than you would guess, and it makes the skin look really good. So I have Fair Cool and Fair Light Cool. I didn't realize though, for the longest time, that you have to squeeze this to get the shade out. I had no idea how to like work it, because it really is like a liquidy foundation. Yeah, it has way more coverage than you would ever guess. I'm a little torn on the shades. They're very, very similar, but I might keep both because I feel like until I try it on the skin again together, to kind of see, it's hard to decide because they're really close. I don't want to get rid of it and then be wrong and be like, dang it, I should have kept the other. But I really do like these. These are kind of one of those random brands around that it's just really good. I tried it because Taylor Wynn kept raving about it, and she's not wrong. These are really pretty. So going to keep both of them for now. Okay, I love this, but I think it's time. It's getting old. This is gorgeous. The lovely Miss Arna Elaine sent this to me when we did kind of a swap. She had some like Australian products and I had American products and we swapped them. She has an amazing channel. You guys will like her. I'll link her below. This is the Designer Brands Hydrating Foundation, the luminous one, and it is so freaking pretty. I loved this, but I don't use a lot in videos because a lot of you guys can't get your hands on it. But if you can, definitely worth the try. It is beautiful. But I've had this for way too long at this point, so it's time for it to go. The elephant in the room. I know you guys are like, Jessica, do you seriously have 4 of those? And you're gonna die to know that I have another one at home in like a tiny format for like travel. This is embarrassing. I have 21, 23, 27, and 29. I'm gonna swatch these for you real fast because I know a lot of you guys ask about like the shades. They have redone this though, so it's hard to say if the shades are gonna be exactly the same. I need to get my hands on the new formula. Oh my gosh. This is obviously a favorite. This is like a favorite tinted moisturizer of mine. It has way more coverage than you would guess. And I have the darker shades. I bought them because I wanted to be able to wear them like when I'm self-tan to kind of match a little bit better, but they are very different shades than the other ones. So 21, 23, 27, 29. 21 is the obvious. 23 I reach for a lot because I feel like once it's blended in, it looks good. But 21 really is a closer shade match. Real talk, if I mix them together, it'd be even better. Now, it's obviously like super gray toned, which I just like. I feel like it works with my skin a lot better than things that are super yellow or whatever. These two, I think I might keep 27, but not 29. So when I'm self-tan, I think 29 is just a little too far. You know what I mean? So I think 27 would be okay to keep for that. And then this 23 is pretty old. It is really old. So I might throw this in my empties bin to talk about in an empties video and just keep 21 just because that works really well. Because like I said, this one's almost gone and it is very old. So we're just gonna keep 21 for every day and 27 for self-tan days, like come summer when I'm no longer pregnant. That's a good feeling because having 4 of those was like way too much. And every time I would look in my drawer, I'd be like, why do I have this many? So what the heck is the difference between these two? This one's oil-free and very different shades. So this is the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer. I feel like I have not tried these very much. I remember liking them both though. They're very different shades. So very clearly, this one is way too dark for me unless I were like self-tanned, which again, makes me think, well, maybe I should keep it so I have some kind of option like that. But really, if I'm self-tanned, I'll probably just use then the Misha one. So I think I can get rid of this one and keep this, but really with the understanding that I need to try it some more and see how I really feel about it, especially compared to other ones I already have. But I don't want to get rid of it yet because I really just don't feel like I know exactly how I feel. So this is a newer one I fell in love with, the Sephora Best Skin Ever. Oh my gosh, just beautiful on the skin. Again, kind of medium coverage. This is raved about a lot on YouTube, especially recently, and for good reason. It's really, really pretty on the skin. It applies so easily, it wears really well, and the price point I think is really reasonable, especially compared to a lot of the other ones we've talked about. It's closer to the drugstore range than it is the like high-end range price-wise. So love this, definitely keeping. Got a lot of favorites here. I really liked the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation, so I'm gonna keep it. The problem is it's harder to get your hands on now, even though it's newer launch, because they removed themselves from Ulta. So you can buy it, I'm pretty sure, from the Catrice website, even in the US. So it's worth it, and honestly, if you're gonna place an order, I'd get this. And the concealer I like even more from this same line. That concealer is one of my favorites. So really, really, really like it. And I was very surprised. I have not tried or loved a lot from Morphe over the years. And when I think about Morphe, I always assume it's gonna be like crazy high coverage, really matte and cakey. I don't know, that's just like a stigma in my head, but this is the Filter Effect Soft Focus Foundation. Medium coverage, it says medium to full. I would say medium. I don't know that you could get this to full coverage, but it looks really healthy on the skin. Like it's not nearly as matte as I had pictured, and I was just so pleasantly surprised by how much I liked this foundation. So would recommend. You can buy Morphe at Ulta. And I have the shade Filter Light 7. So I'm really torn between these two. I've had this MAC Face and Body for a little while now, and this is the newer one. I don't know if it's replacing it or if it's like another line, but this is the new Face and Body Radiant Sheer Foundation, and this is just their Face and Body. So I think it's the Radiant version. I have in one in both of them. However, I do think they're slightly different shades. Let me show you. Okay, so this is the original in one, and this is the Radiant in one. So they're very different. The magic of this happens when you rub it over and over again. But really, it just starts to kind of become a little bit tackier, and then it just stays in place really nicely. So this is a beautiful foundation. The in one and the Radiant is too dark. Just looking at this, in one and the original is perfect. So That's a pretty easy decision for me to make there. I didn't notice a huge difference in the Radiant versus the Face and Body. And on top of it, I think I kind of like the finish of the original better, which is surprising because I like Radiant skin, but I feel like this was radiant enough as it was. So I'm gonna get rid of the Studio Radiance and keep the original. And I'm just hoping they haven't like discontinued the original line because that would suck because it's really pretty. I don't think they would though. I feel like that's a line that's been around for so long, you know? So this one's almost gone. I mentioned the CoverGirl and Olay Advanced Radiance. I think it's just time. It's so old as well. I would absolutely buy this again. This was a favorite of mine for so long. It's kind of got a thicker like whipped texture, which I typically would not want. It's so pretty on the skin. And if you mix this with like a BB cream or a tinted moisturizer, it's even prettier because this will give you like the coverage you want. So I was so impressed with this. So love it. Time for it to go. I will probably repurchase again if I can find it. It's a harder one to find because there's another line that looks similar to this from CoverGirl, but it's got like a swirl and that's not exactly the same thing. These are different. The L'Oreal True Match Nude is still pretty darn new to me. I do enjoy it. It's not a super full coverage product. It's not really what it's meant to be, but it is pretty. And so I'm gonna keep it and keep playing with it. I'm still working on my speed reviews for this. This is another one that so surprised me with how beautiful it was. The Physicians Formula, Butter Believe It. It's definitely a higher coverage foundation and I really, really like it. I definitely need to keep using it because I feel like it's going to expire soon-ish, like maybe in the next year. So I wanna make sure I get more use out of this because it is really, really a pretty, like I said, I would say medium to full coverage foundation and it wears really nicely. It sits on the skin really nicely. Like it's a pretty freaking foundation. Love my Purito BB cream. This is beautiful. It is almost gone. It is so similar, you guys, to the Misha. So similar. I think I still prefer the Misha, but it's really hard because they're both so beautiful. I have this in 23. I wanna see if this is, actually, let's compare 21 in the Misha to 23, and then I might grab the 23 Misha too, because I'm kind of curious. Okay, so it is a little deeper. And then let me grab 23 from Misha. Dang, this is super helpful if you've been like comparing these and been curious. So this is the Misha 21. This is the Purito 23. And that is the Misha 23. So the 23 is between Misha and Purito. The Purito definitely is a little bit deeper. And maybe that's why I've still felt drawn to the Misha ones because maybe this wasn't perfect. So I might go ahead and buy, because I love this formula, obviously I've used it up, the 21 shade and see what that looks like because I think I'm gonna like it even more, but I love this freaking formula and I'm pretty sure you can buy it on Amazon. I think that's where I bought it. This is one of the prettiest foundations. It is the Beauty Bakery Instabake. I love this. Again, higher coverage, more of like a special day or date night type foundation for me, but I love it. It looks so pretty on the skin and really flawless. So big fan of that, keeping. And I also really like the LYS Triple Fix. This is more of a medium coverage, but it gives a really nice glow to the skin. This is getting a lot of traction online too. Love this. I did a review on quite a bit from this brand a while ago. I can link below if you want to see it. It's withstood the test of the past like year or 2 years. I've been using it a lot, so love this. That's all of them. Let me show you what we're getting rid of and what we're keeping. So we are keeping 34 foundations. There are a handful that I'm keeping like for that video I've told you I'm gonna do. And so some of those might stay, some of those might go after that. Like we know the CoverGirl one's gonna go. Regardless, 34 total that we're keeping. That is still a lot, honestly. But as I looked at this, I was like, there's nothing really that gives me that feeling like, no, we should get rid of it. Like I feel good about everything. So that is nice, and I wanna show you now what we're getting rid of. Sorry, 35. I just realized this is one I'm keeping. I accidentally put in the get rid of pile. So 22 foundations that we are going to be getting rid of. That's a good feeling. It's like trimming the fat, you know? I feel like all of these are things that I would see in my drawer and be like, ugh, like they give me that feeling of guilt for buying it and I don't use it or like it, or just that I have too much in there and it would overwhelm me, and these are things I know I really don't reach for, / some of them are empty / expired. So this is awesome to just have out of my collection. Yes. All right, so that is a really good feeling, you guys. And like I said, I know some of those things, by the way, Pinocchio's been back there this whole time. And makeup bag. Hi, bud. Oh, I get a lot of questions about this makeup bag, by the way. I got it on Amazon a long time ago and they have not sold it since. I found one that is so similar, you guys, finally. So I'll link it below. I'm just saying, I was so excited because I have not been able to link anything for you because it just has not been available, but I found one that's like almost the same. Anyways, just sweet boy is so sweepy. Anyway, but I hope that you enjoyed this. Why do I have the camera up so high? I hope that you enjoyed this video. I love doing these kinds of videos with you guys. And yeah, I really don't have much else to say. I kind of just feel like chatting, but I end up like, all my videos are so long because I end up chatting way too much during it. But I hope that you'll stick around, watch some more of my videos if you feel like it. Like I said, I have more declutter videos. I'll link the concealer declutter I just did last month down below. I'll also link my most recent drugstore dupes video that I mentioned because I like to do those every other month here on my channel too. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this. It helps me out so much here with the YouTube algorithm, and also, you know, then you'll get to see when I upload new videos, whether they're declutters or something else. So I love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.